we would never hear.
Go Dogs. Go Dogs. Go Dogs. Go Dogs. Did you guys hear that? There was some subliminal messaging in the countdown today. It was weird.
If you play the show backwards, it says "Eat at Taco Bell."
No, take your mother to Fuddruckers.
Oh my!
What's up, guys? It's SEC After Dark. We are here. We are live. We have survived yet another college football regular season. We're on to college football's second season, which is recruiting and portal time. And then the third season, which is bowl season and championship season.
Hey, Corey, before we get started, I wanted to make mention to everybody that, hey, as you can see, our logo was saved from being trampled by a flag this weekend. So the SEC After Dark logo is safe.
Yes.
We were able to fight it off.
Yes, we were.
That's right.
And pepper spray any assailants coming out.
Nobody comes into our house.
Yeah, that's right.
I am so happy for Quinshon Judkins.
That guy got a hell of a deal, man. He was up Ohio State. They're set up, man. And all of a sudden, you let Michigan come into your house. What the hell?
A bad Michigan, by the way.
Yeah. By the way, this
pitiful Michigan.
Yeah.
The committee is corrupt. Okay. It just is.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama beats Mercer and moves up 3 spots. Beats Mercer and moves up 3 spots to be in a position to beat Auburn and end up in the playoff. Ohio State loses to Michigan, and that game is probably to a team that would be in a ball game with the Kentucky Wildcats. I mean, that would be a ball game. And they dropped 3 spots, 4 spots. Tennessee lost to Arkansas and dropped like 9.
Yeah, they're ahead of Tennessee still.
Yeah. And they're going to get that home game.
Yeah, they're going to get a home game.
I want Ohio State going to Neyland Stadium on December 20th at night.
I would love that.
That game I want, because I don't think they realize what noise is.
Yeah.
They have never played a big game in an SEC stadium. It's like, oh, these bowl games, this Citrus Bowl stadium, it's not so loud. I want to see them go to Neyland Stadium on a Saturday night and have to sit there with Ryan Day, which, by the way, the greatest tweet ever that said Ryan Day was the Michael Jordan of James Franklin's. Tennessee would dog walk Ohio State right now.
Yeah.
Oh, they would indeed.
Absolutely.
Yeah. They would dog walk them every day, twice on Sundays. And Ryan Day would just sit there with that stupid ass look on his face. Like,
I love that saying. That is the most perfect saying I've ever heard.
Michael Jordan of James Franklin's.
Yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of James Franklin, I don't think Penn State's that good either.
No. The whole narrative of college football is built off of this lie that Michigan disproved, and that was that Ohio State was an elite football team. Everything is built around Ohio State being an elite football team. Oregon's number 1 because they haven't played anybody, but they beat Ohio State, who's an elite football team. Yeah. Penn State hasn't played anybody, but they lost to Ohio State, that's an elite football team. Indiana hasn't played anybody, lost to Ohio State's an elite football team. And they're still treating Ohio State like an elite football team after they laid that freaking egg. I think South Carolina, let's go down to 14 on the list. South Carolina would beat Ohio State by 2 touchdowns.
Easily.
They would not be able to block those 2 ends, and that would be all you need. I mean, the analysis ends right there, because I don't think anything else matters, because if Ohio State can't move the ball and can't put points on the board, it don't matter. A field goal wins it. But, yeah, you're exactly right, dude. Like, Ohio State they're a pack of frauds. Yeah. They're a pack of frauds. And Ryan Day is the king of it.
They let that Michigan offense, I mean, they only scored 13 points, but they let that Michigan offense beat them. You put Lenora Sellers up against that defense?
Oh, my God.
Come on. The guy is a freight train right now. He's rolling through the SEC. He would do the same
Dude.
to Ohio State.
What he did to Clemson on that last drive.
Oh,
You know,
God.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
3rd and 16 and ran it in from like 30 yards. Incredible.
Yeah, geez. Michigan was a banana peel away from calling us to come play offense for him.
Yeah.
Steve was I was gonna throw passes to Steve if that
guess-
game went on any longer. Like
I guess-
that's how bad.
Like
I guess
Cade,
me and Jeb were blocked.
by the way, Cade McNamara is getting into the transfer portal again and going from Michigan to Iowa. It has to be Kentucky, right?
Yeah, that's the logical next step. You're right.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
going to the trifecta.
Yeah.
Right.
Needs a QB.
He's going from 1920 to 1924 to 1926.
He's going to build his legend off that move. Man. He needs to do that.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a movie.
It would be.
Or
I
a
mean,
TV series
You,
called
you could find Cade McNamara in the dictionary with a picture of the word mid.
Started 3 years at 3 different schools, threw 48 passes. Total.
That's good.
I don't
I
even
just
think
hope Connor Weidman doesn't go there because I want Connor Weidman to succeed, even though he's in the portal now and no longer an Aggie. But you go to Lexington, that's where 5-star quarterbacks go to die at this point. So
Surely he
he
would
feels-
choose Kentucky.
I said this on the SEC squad show that's going to air tomorrow night. He's got Wisconsin quarterback written all over it.
I can see that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Kind of a Graham Mertz.
I could see Mike Denbrock getting that job at Wisconsin with his boy Luke Fickell and getting Connor Wegman and Wisconsin being good.
Corey, before we get into the rivalry weekend, I got one question for everybody. I want your opinion on something.
Nope.
And I think it's it's a legit question. Who do y'all think is the SEC Coach of the Year this year? Is it Shane Beamer? Is it Billy Napier?
It's Clark Lee.
Clark Lee. I mean, who?
It's Clark.
His win over under was 2.5.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
But if
Clark.
you would have told if you told me that with that schedule, Florida would have the potential if they win their bowl game to win 8 games this year, I would have laughed in your face. Though,
If you'd have told me that Vanderbilt would have won more than 3 games, I would have been like, even though I sunshine pumped the hell out of them on my show.
I mean, you got to.
I didn't actually like. I was like, oh god, I was kind of nervous. Like they might actually win like 3 games, and then after Georgia State, I'm like, it was going to be a rough season. And then they go 6-6, and they're about to go to a bowl game, probably getting matched up with K-State. So like, if you're getting matched up with like a real football team, it means you're in a pretty good bowl situation. That's a good reward.
It is.
Oh,
I wonder if that Georgia State game will prevent Lee from getting it though. Like if he's
That's the
put
only
up
thing that
against,
makes me not want to. Yeah.
right, if
Right.
he's put up against Beamer, Beamer. I don't know
Beamer,
whether
for sure.
I mean, I would
like-
probably vote for Beamer.
Yeah.
Truthfully,
They'll probably give it to Kalen DeBoer.
No, they ain't. Losing 3 games in his first year, no, ain't happening.
Well, I mean, they got in the playoffs doing that.
Well,
Which, by the way,
maybe.
Alabama fans should be very nervous right now because I can see in the cards right now they're going to go to South Bend. And if you don't think Notre Dame fans, every one of them remember what Nick Saban did to Notre Dame every time they played, and they have a chance to put their foot on your throat.
I ain't worried about them. They got beat by Northern Illinois at South
If-
Bend.
If Clemson beats SMU, though, does Bama even get in?
Oh yeah, I'm hoping that the quiet part gets said out loud and SMU drops out of the championship game, so that everybody can just say the brands that matters. They want to make the most money off this playoffs, so the brands have to be protected at all costs.
I mean,
It's all about branding. It's not
Yeah.
about the best teams.
it's the only way you can justify Ohio State beating over Tennessee. They're
Right.
Ohio State.
I think we're forgetting one name though for Coach of the Year here, and I think our friend Michael Specs here will agree with me. But I think it might be Steve Sarkisian.
Wow.
I think it's going to be either Sarkisian or Smart, just whoever wins. Yeah.
Well, I think Beamer's going to be up there too
Gotta
because
be.
their over under was at 5 wins.
And he's got 9.
they're over
right
to
now.
5 wins, and they got to the edge of the playoff.
If I had a vote, mine would be Shane Beamer for sure.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Though. I
Me
think
too.
Sarkisian's probably leading it right
As
now.
much as I want to give it, I would say Shane Beamer, Clark Lee, Billy Napier, Steve Sarkisian. That would be,
Mhm.
and then 5th could be whoever.
Do y'all want to hear a fun bowl rumor?
Yeah.
One of the rumors that's going around Oxford right now.
Mississippi State's going to the Birmingham Bowl.
No, not without 4 more wins. They're not.
Right.
They want to get a team in, so why not?
Ole Miss, Colorado, and Las Vegas.
Ooh.
Oh man,
God, that would be a fun game.
That'd be fun.
I got no dog in that
Time
fight,
versus
and I want to go.
I was
Oh,
gonna
that
say.
would be good.
That'd be fun.
But was Sanders set out?
Sanders will be in Dallas coaching the Cowboys at that point.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Prime swore that he would not sit down.
Well, what about
Take that
Shadur?
for what it's worth. Yeah. No, that's what he was saying. He was
Yeah.
saying the
Hey,
Shore will play. But
there is a real rumor going around Ole Miss right now that Jackson Dart is seriously consider playing in that bowl game.
Oh, that's good.
It might be a bowl game that Shadur Sanders plays in and Jackson Dart to where there's no opt-outs. It could be an absolute unicorn.
That would be a lot of fun. But as an Ole Miss fan, would you rather see Austin Simmons get to play in that game?
Yeah, it's one of those situations that no matter what happens, I appreciate everything Jackson did. Oh, we need at least 2 series with Austin Simmons.
Just see what you got.
Hey, Brandon Dart, are you listening right now? Steve definitely appreciates everything Jackson Dart has done. So if you're out there, Steve does not hate Jackson Dart.
My goodness, so weird. I've never seen somebody just get on a campaign for somebody over what somebody said that I said, not what I said. Because if you read what I said, it's fine. It's completely normal. But it's over what other people said about what I said, their interpretation. And it's like, oh, my God.
Firestorm, Steve, is, oh, my God, dude.
So weird. So weird.
The most controversial man in Ole Miss media.
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah. Engagement is my brand. Being polarizing, that's my brand.
And you're just a farmer, man.
Yeah, so I guess at the end of the day, I'm just doing my thing.
That's right.
God, the comments are like, "Shut up, Steve! Delete your account, Steve. Steven, you're an idiot. Steven, I tuned in to see what dumb takes you're gonna have. Steven Willis guy's a joke."
But you did watch me.
yeah.
No,
I want to see what he'll say next.
They didn't. They're commenting on Twitter, and those people aren't watching my show to begin with. Hence, by the fact that my numbers went up after that.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it's like
Thanks for the views.
yeah. Twitter is not a real place.
No,
it's not.
So Steve, to pretty much answer Michael's question there, if what that rumor is true, you shouldn't have any opt-outs in that game.
I think there's going to be a few. I think there is going to be a few.
What about
like I do not expect like Walter Nolan to play in that game.
Yeah.
I think the first round draft picks like him and Princely Monsmiel and maybe Trey Amos, they probably sit it out. But anybody that's on the fringe that might be a low draft pick that other years would opt out and things like that, I think they're going to play potentially. So maybe right now I have to see. It could all change tomorrow. And once the bowl goes out, who Ole Miss is playing against, that's going to affect a lot of stuff. But if Ole Miss is playing against Colorado and they're not opting out and Jackson Dart's playing in the game, you're probably not getting more than 5 opt-outs for the bowl game.
Nice.
Does Travis Hunter opt out?
No, that's not their culture.
Right.
True.
Remember, the first part of culture is cult.
Oh.
we don't know anything about that.
Well, Aggies? Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Michael Specs is tweeting through it right now.
I love it. I love it.
Hopefully the O-line opts out.
He is tweeting through it.
I love it. Hey, any chance that Ole Miss picks up Princely's brother from Nebraska?
I think there's a possibility. Austin Simmons, by the way. Austin Simmons' first test of quarterback 1 and everything was him recruiting this class, and Ole Miss probably signed in the conversation for the best wide receiving class in the whole country. And Austin passed that with flying colors. And one of his tweets with him recruiting on social media is him commenting to Prince Will Umami Ellen. And which that lets me know that at least something's going on.
Apparently, there's a good receiver at MTSU that's hitting the portal. Their best receiver, and one of Vandy's defensive linemen is tweeting at him and Instagramming, DMing him, saying, "You're coming to Vanderbilt."
Yeah. There's apparently a kid at Tulsa that's really good. That's going to be with the portal star.
Concepcion from NC State's in the portal. He's going to be. Watch out for him. I don't know where he's going to end up, but that's a name to look out for.
The Kentucky guys, I'm all over looking at them. I think Dane Key has a chance to be Trey Harris in the right offense.
If I'm Kirby, I'm like, hey Dane, what's going on, buddy?
Yeah, I think that Ole Miss has the best shot of the Kentucky wide receiver. I think Barry and Brown probably has the best odds because that rumor has been happening the whole time he's been at Kentucky. He's going to get in the portal and he's coming to Ole Miss, and so.
And then
let's see. Now that he's in the portal, let's see what happens. Yeah. He's the one that caught that 4th and 7 pass that basically ended up costing almost the playoffs, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You want to talk about guys who are underutilized. I remember talking about them early in the season, like, hey, watch out for these guys because they're solid. And man, they just never got them the ball.
And not even a little bit.
They couldn't against Vandy and against Georgia. Barry Brown was like, I'm open.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Throw me the dang ball. Yeah.
They didn't have a quarterback to get it to him, though.
No.
Brock Vandegrift was a massive bust.
Yeah.
Massive bust.
Yep.
And even the guy that they put in this past week against Louisville looked worse.
Yeah.
Something.
They got issues.
Well, he's a true freshman. Like next year's Kentucky's quarterback is going to be what, Gunnar Stockton, probably.
Probably.
We're gonna
They're going to repeat the Georgia pipeline.
Ryan Puglisi.
Miller Moss.
Yeah. That's right.
Caden Salter and Noah Fafita and
Noah Fafita. That's one I would like advance.
I hope Salter doesn't go there because I want to root for him.
But Auburn's going to get one of them.
Yeah,
you have to figure. They're throwing around a ton of money right now. They're just so desperate, and they're acting that way. So if you're a prospect looking at Auburn, you're probably sitting pretty right now.
But their coach is still Hugh Freeze.
Yeah,
for sure.
Coach still Hugh Freeze.
Somebody made the comment about Deuce Knight, and I was like, well, Hugh Freeze is going to win 6 games next year, get fired, and Deuce Knight's going to hit the portal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not like anything ended today.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe. I thought that about Billy Napier and old DJ Lagway. I thought I was going to see DJ Lagway in College Station next year. Doesn't look like that's going to happen.
Yeah. It's the Marcel Reed show, which, by the way, I will take everybody's apology about Marcel Reed whenever y'all are ready to get them.
One Reed. What did you call him, Alex? Some Biscuits SEC Live. One Reed.
One Reed.
Yeah.
Yep. Texas A&M needed Connor Weigman to win games this year. They needed a quarterback that could throw the football. And whenever you took away everything's going, took away the run and forced them to beat you throwing the football, he couldn't do it. He's a good quarterback. He's an athlete. He could do all the stuff, and he's going to be really good, but he's not there yet.
That's right. The other piece of it, too, is he had wide open receivers against Texas. He was just missing them. One read. It literally was. I mean, you can watch just watching it was obvious during the game, right? It was one read, and then boom, okay, I mean, they're scrambling or whatever. Then they would show the spider cam, and you're seeing, okay, a couple of different plays. He missed wide open receivers. But also in part, and this is something Elko is going to have to address in the portal, is A&M's talent on the outside just really wasn't there this year. I mean, they had a couple guys.
They all went to Oregon.
Yeah, the guy, right, exactly. He went to Oregon. You had Noah Thomas, and Noah Thomas he's a really solid player. He's got the frame. He's tall.
He's a 2. They need a 1.
Exactly. And Noah Thomas is great in the red zone, right? He's your 6'6" guy. He can go up and catch the ball. But yeah, they really don't have a 1 right now, and the wide receiver room is kind of thin. There was some portal guys that they got in the portal class last year that they thought would step up, and they just were okay, right? And it's been an issue at A&M for a couple of years now that wide receivers are having trouble getting separation. So they need to get Marcel Reed some help in the portal.
You want an unpopular opinion? Reuben Owens needs to get in the portal. Reuben Owens is not going to be he is not a fit for that Texas A&M offense. They need a Le'Veon Moss. That is the type running back they need. They do not need the scat back. They need the bully back.
I could see that. I mean, Reuben Owens has vision though. That was the big piece that was missing with Amari Daniels. He doesn't have very good vision.
Yeah, he just runs into a wall.
He just runs into a dadgum wall. He has
Yeah.
no patience back there. He just runs it straight into the back of his offensive lineman.
But he's the third string running back. You know, that's
Right.
the sad thing about Texas A&M in this situation. They were going up against Texas, and they had 3 bullets for their gun.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, Texas just bullied A&M in the trenches, and to y'all's point about A&M, their wide receivers, and then B, just Reed not really seeing the whole field. I mean, Texas, they were cheating up all night because they knew they're not going to go over the top. And yeah, with Daniels back there, with the offensive line getting pushed around, I mean, they had nothing. I mean, they didn't score an offensive point, so they clearly had nothing when they were reaching in their bag to try and figure out something that would work. I mean, Colin Klein was just coming up empty every time.
Yeah, and when you look at like Texas's defense, Sarkisian's from the same school that Nick Saban was in, where he does the same stuff that Kirby Smart and Pete Golding, and the point where if you can't push them backwards, they get closer and closer to the line of scrimmage to the point where you eventually can't run the football. You have to throw the ball downfield to beat Alabama. If you don't do that, they will put you under. Georgia's the same way. Ole Miss is the same way. Everybody that runs that is that Nick Saban thing where they just boa constriction you.
And they say, okay, run it.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, and I'm interested to see how this works, if it works at all against Georgia. But, speaking of third string running backs, Texas is on their third stringer too, Wisner. And that guy looked like freaking Herschel Walker against A&M. I mean, they could not tackle that dude.
He runs hard. He runs really hard. And now CJ Baxter is a great running back. I understand why he was the starter. And I guess it was the Jalen Blue, was he listed as the backup ahead of time, and then Wisner kind of took the job away from him.
Yeah.
That running game is the key to this Texas team. And Georgia is going to take that away. And it's like, hey, our line is going to physically match up with you. You're not going to be able to run the football. And if you can throw the ball with Quinn Ewers on one bum leg, good for you. But Georgia is going to completely focus on Wisner and say, hey, Quinn Ewers, beat us.
I think that's right. And you saw too, like the issue that Georgia had against Georgia Tech, right? Was Haynes King, a dual threat quarterback who can run on you and who has just enough passing ability to keep you honest. And Texas doesn't have that right now. And we were talking about it on Biscuits and SEC Live. I'm interested to see if there's a couple packages for Arch Manning in there just to utilize his legs.
There's got to be, but like, is Sark going to be? Is he going to be hesitant in a championship game? Like, does he tighten up a little bit in the championship game and not go with that? Because he wants to, but then he's going to look at it and go, okay, maybe I'm a little nervous about doing that. Like, is that a thing?
People better watch out because they're all focused on the 8 overtimes with Georgia Tech. They need to be focused on the last 3 minutes of the fourth quarter and the end of the game. That Georgia defense found themselves a little bit.
Yeah.
They finally just got their heads out of their asses.
Kirby Smart just said, F it, and we are going to blitz you into submission. I mean, I never saw so many double A gap blitzes as I did at the end of the game in an overtime. It's like, okay, run the ball, do what you want to do. You're going to have people in the backfield.
We're gonna blow this up.
I got to give a lot of credit to Haynes King though. Without him, that Georgia Tech is not in that game at all.
Oh yeah. He needed an ice bath.
Yeah, he sure did.
For sure, dude. That was a bloodbath of a game. I mean, that was a physical game, both sides of the ball. Georgia Tech showed something defensively. Like I thought they had a really good game plan, and they just kind of ran out of gas. Like they had Georgia on the ropes, but they just couldn't finish it.
Hey, your cousin Buster Faulkner was in his bag at the beginning of that game.
He was
in his bag before, but they just couldn't protect anymore because of Kirby. I think Kirby took over the defense. I think he said, Glenn, I got this.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, because Kirby looked involved at the end of that game.
Yeah.
Well, he's calling a timeout every overtime.
Every overtime.
Hey,
Like,
They're-
Glenn,
they're
back
the
off. I'm
one-
calling time. I'm calling it.
Yeah.
hey, they are the ones that decided that each team should get a timeout every overtime, and each overtime should be one play.
Yeah.
Yeah, they.
I mean, you
Happens
can't
to
blame
change
Herbert
that.
for doing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't blame him at all. I just thought it was funny, just every damn time, just calling timeout.
I mean, yeah. Sending the game every,
Lane
longer.
Kiffin would have just faked injuries.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he would have. Haynes King, man, yeah, that kid's a warrior. I mean, and credit to Jimbo Fisher for recruiting him and ruining him so that he got out of the A&M program. But yeah, I mean, even I touched on it in the Biscuits SEC Live. You got to remember he was the backup at A&M in 2022. Came in against Alabama, and Jay, you remember this game. I mean, had him on the ropes. If Jimbo doesn't call that absolutely stupid play call to the right hash and to the right pylon,
2-yard line,
2-yard line, right? Like, A&M might walk out of there with a win.
Yeah,
and he played his heart out in that game. There's the same thing like as this Georgia game, the Georgia Tech game. He's walking off the field just looking like just dejected, but his jersey is just covered in grass and blood and everything. It was the same thing in that Alabama game. So that kid just loves to win, and he's a warrior. And hey, credit to Brent Key too. Like that guy's really building something at Georgia Tech. He's got those kids bought in. And it looks like he's building a real program. I wouldn't be surprised to see them jump up in the ACC, in the next couple of years.
if he stays.
They are. Well, he's not going anywhere.
As an alumni, I doubt it. Yeah.
That's his dream job.
Buster Faulkner, though, he may be going somewhere soon.
But Buster, I thought Buster was going to go to Southern Miss, but that didn't happen.
Good for him.
Yeah, he dodged the bullet there.
Yeah,
I think here's I don't know if this is a hot take or how you classify this, but I don't think Buster's going to go anywhere this year. I think Tech's going to raise him, but I don't think they're going to.
Not this year, maybe next year though.
There's not a ton open.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
About to be.
Oklahoma State's got a opening at offense coordinator, but not a head coach for some reason because he's been there 45 years. But
He's never leaving.
yeah,
I thought they were
He's 74.
yeah,
I'm a man. I'm 74.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought he might get the Mac Brown treatment, get pushed out this year, but looks like maybe they're going to give him one mulligan.
Rick and Bonnie's got an interesting comment here.
I think
that is accurate.
Yeah.
I think the real question is, does West Virginia want Jimbo? But I think if they offered him, I bet he would definitely take it.
Yeah, as long as there was no contractual obligation to where if he took a job that the buyout money would get less. If he could double dip now, I'm sure. Yeah.
Right.
Don't forget his stack of notebook papers about like that.
Yeah, his Cheesecake Factory play sheet is pretty awesome.
Yeah, they won't force him to hire an OC either. And hey, Connor Reedman's in the portal, and Connor Reedman was the only one in the last long time of A&M quarterbacks under Jimbo Fisher that, I guess except for Kellen Mond, Connor Reedman made the Jimbo offense look half decent sometimes.
Yeah,
so.
That's true.
Blind, the saying, blind squirrel and finding
nuts.
Yeah.
He found a couple of them with Jimbo, though. LSU win, big LSU win.
Jimbo probably found a couple of them. He stumped on a couple plays on his. Like when you drop stuff when you're in high school, like your locker, like stuff fell out of your locker and papers went everywhere, and you like had to scramble, but you didn't have enough time to really organize it in your hand. You just pick up like a wad of paper, and it's like going every direction. That's his play sheet.
Yeah.
That's true. And 2022 was everybody just stuffing him in a locker over and over and over again.
He's got his glasses down like this,
Yeah,
like a grandma. Just.
Well, the joke is hilarious, and I apologize to Hammer and Boss Man, but Texas 8-4, it never dies.
Man,
can't escape it, man.
That was again. Just we were talking before the show, right? It could not get worse for A&M right now. To the 8-4, losing to Texas at home, winner goes to the SEC championship. Everything was just stacked up for either a crushing defeat or a momentous victory, and of course A&M fumbled the bag.
Chose crushing defeat.
Yep.
Why are coaches allergic to taking the points these days?
Good question.
That's a great question. I'm totally with you. It's
That's a good
boggling my
question.
mind that I was losing my mind at Elko in the first half. Take the dadgum points, kick the field goal, get some points on the board, and then people were mad at him late in the game, like that 4th and 1 when they called the timeout and came out and ran Amari Daniels into the back of his offensive lineman again. That was a whole nother thing we could get into, but. People were mad at him for not taking the points there. I didn't think that was the right call.
That one they had to go for.
Yeah. Right. I agree.
Because of the mistake they made earlier in the game.
Correct.
If they would have kicked that field goal, it would have been 17-10 at that point.
Yep.
And that's a completely different ball game. You're seeing that all over. Like Kirby Smart against Georgia Tech just randomly went for 2.
Yeah,
that game should have never went to an overtime. It just randomly went for 2.
What are we doing?
Just play football, guys. It's not that hard.
It feels like it's over analytics.
Yes,
it's all over the place. We get the nerds out of college football, man. Get the nerds out of here. Let's play some ball.
I am of the opinion that this world would be better off if bullying was become a thing again.
Back.
Got to remember your place. No, I actually agree with you. I don't remember what game it was. I remember watching a game where I think it was like the end of the 3rd quarter, and one team scored a touchdown, and I heard the announcer say, "Well, they got to go for 2 on this one," and I didn't understand what they were talking about. Like, why do you got to go for 2?
Why are we chasing points?
Yeah, it made no sense. And then something happened, a penalty or something, and they just kicked 1. But then after that, they scored again not too long after that, and took the lead. Like I really just didn't get it.
The thing about analytics and the over analytics right now is viewing every touchdown as if it was the winning touchdown, not as in a single thing that's leading to a bigger thing.
Yeah.
And like Lane Kiffin drives me crazy on this. He is super analytics, but Ole Miss's defense gives up 13 points a game.
Yeah.
Which means it's a race to score 14 points for Ole Miss offensively. Every one of Ole Miss's losses involved a going for it inside the red zone that they did not get.
Yeah.
If Ole Miss takes the points and just plays it straight up, if Matt Luke was calling the games at Ole Miss to where everything was by the numbers, Ole Miss is 12-0 right now.
Yeah, it does feel like that Lane Kiffin feels like he's got to catch up early on in the game. And you're right. There's the entire rest of the game to go.
He's got to get that edge, that psychological edge of, hey, we just got you.
Yeah. And it's like I said, after watching this, all analytics is something else to blame other than the coach for deciding to go for it. It is anti-accountability. That's all it is.
I think it was you, Steven, or Hammer might have said this too at one point on one of our shows, but especially just talking about Ole Miss for a second, like Lane Kiffin, he's had the better team on almost every occasion this year, right? Like this is the first time you could say Ole Miss, in terms of a roster perspective, they have the better team. So, you got to start acting like it, like taking the points at the right time, not going for it on however many 3 or 4 fourth downs against Florida, a couple inside the red zone, playing, hey, I understand.
God awful play calls with that.
What's that?
And god awful play calls.
Yes, right. Exactly.
It's like I said, play football like you're the favorite. If you're the favorite, act like it.
Right. Yeah.
If you choose to play like an underdog, the other team is going to start acting like they're the favorite, and they're going to end up beating you. That's how Ole Miss lost to Kentucky.
That's how you get beat by Kentucky. That's right.
And weirdly enough, the one time I saw Ole Miss really do that was against a team that might come match them or does match them in talent, Georgia. And they stopped Georgia. So I just don't get it.
Didn't go for it crazy, didn't do any of that stuff, and just completely boa constricted them.
Why wouldn't you do that every game? Yeah, that's a good question.
And then they come out against Florida, and it's like a 9-year-old playing Madden.
Yep. That's right.
And his mom's yelling at him, and his hot pocket is too hot, and it burnt the roof of his mouth. And so he's just going to go for it and call all streaks.
Burned your pizza rolls. Now you can only have a Slim Jim.
Yeah.
Hey, Rick and Bonnie, we're going to go into picks in just a second. You should be nervous about Bama potentially going to Notre Dame. because that could be a hornet's nest. There's a lot of frustration they want to get out of their system.
And Marcus Freeman is the guy that can fire them up if he's not coaching the Chicago Bears. Marcus Freeman and Dan Lanning and Thomas Brown are like the three contenders, I think.
I think the Bears are going to dip into college football.
Why not?
Yeah, nothing else. That the pro coaches they've gotten have been garbage.
It's not
They,
working.
they,
Ryan Day.
they better looking somewhere else because where they're looking isn't the right place.
Mhm.
The
They can hire
NFL
me.
coordinator route is not working.
No route is working for them. They could hire me. They'd have the same results as they've had for the last 20 years.
I mean, you had Ditka, you had Papa Bear, and that's about it for 100 years.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And then a bunch of
Do y'all know what time it is?
It is
Picks.
actually 8:55 p.m. Picks. Well, of course, these picks are presented by betonline.ag. If you want to bet it, BetOnline has it, and they are the most trusted online betting platform in America. So check it out. Check out these lines plus NFL lines, NBA, NHL, MMA. They have it all. So just go to betonline.ag. Join the betting world today. Live odds, all that stuff. Do it.
Yeah. It's going to be about us in these picks having an opinion about stuff that we know not much about. It's going to be awesome, everybody.
So this is we're going to pick some doozies here, okay? So
And if you look at the picks, there's been a massive change at the top.
Yeah, you can
Yes.
see whose opinions matter.
Yes. Last week I told y'all I was picking with my heart, and it bit me.
oh, look at me.
Look at Becky.
Look at Becky, where she's
Becky's
coming
on the rise.
And then Hammer's just like,
Jesus.
don't know what Hammer's doing down there.
I'm just
But you
trying to
But
stay
you can
afloat.
see, you can see how this changes, man, just quickly.
Hammer.
and now that
How's the weather down there?
Not good.
I just got into town.
Cold,
What do I need
raining.
what do I need to wear here? I just got into town.
Grab your raincoat.
Jesus.
A lot of crying.
Hammer is well on his way to an 81-81, a Cincinnati Reds.
Oh, yeah.
I got 3-7. Eesh. Okay. So, Georgia didn't cover the 20.5 point spread. Go figure. All right. Our first game is Jacksonville State and Western Kentucky in their championship game. Steve, Jacksonville State is 4-point favorites. What do we know about the Gamecocks?
I take my preferred Gamecocks to win this game over Big Red and the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. I think Rich Rod's going to have them ready to go. It's a short line. Basically, all these games are pick-ems, essentially. So I'm going to take with Jacksonville State to win this game straight up.
Yeah, I'm going Jacksonville State as well. The Gamecocks are going to win the Conference USA Championship.
Speaking of valedictorian in summer school.
True.
I don't really have much to add to this one. I agree. I like Jacksonville State. I haven't seen much of Western Kentucky this season, but I'm taking Jacksonville State to cover that.
If I remember correctly, these two teams played last weekend. I think Western Kentucky won like 19-17. So I think it's always hard to win, twice against a team. So flip that.
Georgia.
Yeah. Flip that. So let's go with Jacksonville State here. And Cassidy is taking them as well.
Becky is taking them as well. I think everybody is, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think we're unanimous. Any analysis there, Hammer and Boss Man? Or are you just rolling?
I'm just rolling. Home team.
Rich Rodriguez and Jacksonville State beat Florida State a couple years ago, so give me the Gamecocks.
All right. Well, the last game for the Heisman Showcase for Ashton Genty is going to take place, the Mountain West Championship, as Boise State hosts the Runnin' Rebels of UNLV. So, see, Steve, there are some Rebels.
The Rebels that, Ole Miss was the Rebels that got knocked out of the playoff race first. That's absolutely crazy. But UNLV has a chance to do it. But I don't think they're going to do it because Ashton Genty is going to run for his typical 150 to 200 yards rushing with a couple of touchdowns. And their defensively is going to be explosive enough to slow UNLV down. So give me the Boise State Broncos and the blue turf.
Brendan Marion is showcasing his resume for offensive coordinator. I don't know where that's going to be because there ain't many offensive coordinator jobs available. Could end up at Wisconsin, which would be hilarious to see this running Rebel offense up in Wisconsin, because those Wisconsin fans would have no idea what hit them.
I don't know if Phil Longo was there. They're wondering what's going on right now anyway.
Their heads are still spinning from the Phil Longo experience. So you can be the judge on how that's going. But I think Ashton Jeanty is going to run all over UNLV, not because UNLV is bad, but because that's just what Ashton Jeanty does. And he's like, you know what, Travis Hunter, I'm going to take this Heisman from you. He's going to do everything he possibly can to do so. And everybody knows it, and nobody can stop it. Give me Boise.
If Travis Hunter wins the Heisman, it's a participation trophy.
All right.
All right. Good two-way play. But anyway, I'm going to agree with you on this one. I know we just said Jacksonville State was going to get their revenge in their game. I don't think UNLV does. I think Boise State's going to meet them again and cover the spread. Yeah, that's how I'm going with.
I just said a while ago that it's hard to beat a team twice in the season. I don't think UNLV can win this. I think they can cover because they played early in the season, and it was only a 4-point game then. I think they can keep it within 3 this go around and cover the spread. So give me Boise to win, but UNLV to cover.
And Becky is going to take UNLV, the running Rebels.
Cassie's taking Boise.
Because she's a Rebels fan.
Because she's a Rebel.
I'm taking Boise as well. Only thing I have to add, y'all covered it with Ashton Jeanty. I think you'll have a big game, but these I kind of love it. But these lower conference games are at home, right? So this is on the Smurf turf in Boise. That place is going to be rocking. A playoff spot on the line, potentially a bye on the line. We'll see what the committee does, but I think Boise will win and cover.
Ooh. A little hard for me to pick against Barry Odom. He's done a really good job out there in Las Vegas, especially too. I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch Ashton Jeanty go up against the number 1 rushing defense, number 1 overall defense in the Mountain West. UNLV only gives up 100 something. I think it's 101 yards a game. But at the same time, I still expect Ashton Jeanty to get his, as he's done every single game this season. He's shown us enough at this point to know that he's probably not going to have an off game. So I like Boise State in this one to get the dub.
All right. Here we go. And our next run. I was looking for smaller conference games. Just kidding. Miami of Ohio is hosting Ohio in the Maction Championship. That's basically a pick 'em, 2.5 points. Steve, who's winning this Maction matchup?
Connor Bazelak in the Miami of Ohio Redhawks. Go.
Same. Dynamite drop in, Monty.
Those broadcast lessons are really paying off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going with the same thing. I'm going with the home team in this one, Miami of Ohio.
Yeah, I'm going Miami of Ohio as well. I actually did my research on these picks because I don't know anything about these teams, so I had to dig into it. The last 5 games, they've been kind of split, and I think it's like a 4-3 advantage, Miami of Ohio. I think they go 5-3 with this win here this week. So give me Miami of Ohio. Cassie's actually on the way and picking up Ohio for some reason.
Yeah, Becky is taking Ohio, which I would make fun of her, but she's sitting in 4th place right now, and Cassidy's in 2nd place. And
right.
So
I can't make fun of him anymore.
Sticking with my home team theory. So give me the Red Hawks, even though if you see my picks, you probably don't want to stick with whatever theory I've got cooked up. But home team gets the dub, covers the spread.
Attaboy, Hammer.
Tough to win. Like you said, Jake, twice 2 times against the same team in a season. Miami of Ohio took down Ohio 30-20 mid-season. So I'm going to take Ohio, flip it around, give me the Bobcats.
All right. The Ragin' Cajuns and Marshall are locking horns in conference championship play. The Ragin' Cajuns are 4.5 point favorites. Steve.
Give me the Raging Cajuns in this game. I like Louisiana. They're low-key a good team. I think their only loss this season was against the Tulane Green Waves, and that's nothing to sneeze at. But Cajun Field's going to be rocking down there, and give me the Raging Cajuns.
Yeah, I like the Raging Cajuns as well. They're playing some really good football right now. They're getting after it. They're physical, and they just I like their brand of play. So give me the Raging Cajuns.
Man, I'm just gonna agree with y'all on all these. I don't know, this is gonna get weird, but I'm gonna really catch up if we're always picking the same teams. But now I like Marshall a lot. I think they've played really good football this season, and I've just been a fan of theirs for a while anyway. So I want to pick them, but I feel like the Raging Cajuns are just a better team right now. So I can't, in good conscience, pick against them in this game. So I'm taking Louisiana to cover.
Yeah, I'm going with Louisiana here. Marshall, they played Louisiana a couple years ago, and Louisiana, I think, mowed them off the field. So give me the Raging Cajuns here. Cassidy is going We Are Marshall.
Becky is going Raging Cajuns because she likes saying Raging Cajuns.
I mean, that's not a bad deal there.
Yeah. Same. Roll Raging Cajuns.
High tide.
I love the movie We Are Marshall. Matthew McConaughey does a great job in that movie.
All right.
Also, Marshall, their quarterback is from Frisco, Texas, and the Raging Cajuns pulled some kid out of California, Ben Woolridge. And here in Texas, we have a saying, which is, "Don't California my Texas." So we are Marshall. Give me the Thunder and Herd.
Well, with Nico Iamaleava as my quarterback, I disagree, but okay.
Hey, props to Arkansas for signing Madden Iamaleava.
Oh, did they?
I saw that.
Yeah.
Arkansas. That's where he chose to go? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Must love Walmart.
Yep. Definitely does. All right. Our next game. Steve, your team, Tulane, 4-point favorites over Army. Who's winning this game?
I have Navy hats all over the place. I am a Navy person. I am not an Army person. So give me the Tulane Green Wave. That might as well be Go Navy Green Wave over the Army Black Knights.
Yeah, I think Tulane's going to be riding in on a green wave here. They're playing some really good football. They lost a tough one earlier in the season against Kansas State. That game just didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. I think they lost it more than Kansas State won it. But I like Tulane. I like the way they play. I love Jeff Monken and what Army does with their variations of the triple option. I just don't think it's going to be enough to beat Tulane. So give me the green wave.
We can finally have one we disagree on, because I really like the way Army plays right now. It's fun to watch. It's just weird. I don't think it's something that would work on a lot of teams outside of or in the Big Four conferences. But Tulane is just coming off a loss. I'm not really blaming them for that though, because Memphis is a really good team right now. They've been kind of impressive this season. So I still really like Tulane, but I think Army is going to cover the spread here. Actually.
I don't have a pen, but I got a fingernail clipper. Not so fast, my friend. Last week, our November 16th, Tulane played Navy, which runs the same exact offense that Army does pretty much. And it was 35-0 drubbing. So give me Tulane all day in this game.
Army runs it better.
No, they might do it, but still. And Cassidy is taking Army.
Becky's taking Army.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking Tulane. So this is going against my home team strategy here. I think Tulane is too athletic for Army. You see when these service academies really struggle, it's a team that's just a little bigger, faster, stronger than them, and their option offense doesn't quite work. And I think that will be the case here. I think Tulane's a little bit too athletic and big and fast and strong for Army. So give me the green wave.
This one being at Michie Stadium, 27 degrees at game time.
Ooh.
Going to be frigid. That football is going to feel like a rock. Tulane likes to have that a little bit more high-powered offense than the Army Black Knights do. But I'm taking the Black Knights in this one. I think they've got enough to get it done in this game. I love what they got going on, 10-1 on the season. I think they get another dub here. Give me the Black Knights.
Okay. Gotta love it. All right, here we go. Here's our next game. Finally, we're getting into some big conference games, maybe. The Big 12 championship, Iowa State versus Arizona State. I love this matchup. This is two teams that, if you'd have told me that these two teams would be locked up in the conference championship, I'd have been like, yeah, okay, cool. Turn off NCAA and let's get to the real world here. But Matt Campbell, first 10-win season program history against Kenny Dillingham, who's still yelling at the refs. Steve, it's 2.5 point favored to Arizona State. The Sun Devils, what you got?
In this game right here, the team that I'm going to be rooting for in the playoffs, if they get there, is Arizona State. They're a fun team to watch. They have a 28-year-old or something head coach. He yells at everybody. He gave up like his $200,000 bonus for winning 10 games. He gave that to just 20 staff members, gave them $5,000 a piece. I mean, solid stuff. So I'm rooting for Kenny Dillingham in this game. So give me the Sun Devils to take down Iowa State.
All right. Yeah, I'm taking the Sun Devils as well. They're playing an exciting brand of football. I love Iowa State. I think they're physical. I think they're a team that's very hungry and very well coached, but I think Arizona State's a little bit more explosive, and they're well coached as well. They play with a chip on their shoulder, and this will be fun for them. And I think they will get back first time since the Jake Plummer era, where they've been really good. So, give me the Sun Devils.
Yeah, some of these big conference championship games, I'm going to disagree with the point spread, but this one I like. Iowa State, Arizona State, basically a pick 'em. I think both these teams are a lot of fun to watch, so I'm going to enjoy watching this game. Because I don't really watch a ton of either one of their games, or I haven't watched a ton of either one of their games, I'm kind of having to go with just kind of my gut feeling here, and I feel like Arizona State is going to win this one by 6-7 points. So I'm going with Arizona State.
You guys are going to take her to school on this. In this matchup here, I'll look at the coaching matchup. You have one coach who's in his second year at Arizona State. Matt Campbell has been at Iowa State for 147 years now. So he's got experience. He knows how to win big games. Here's another big game for him to win. I'm taking Iowa State here.
Becky is taking Arizona State. And Iowa State big games. I don't think anybody understands what you're talking about there.
Well, we'll see. This year they won a lot of big games.
Yeah, this should be a good game. I was reading the other day, Iowa State, for as long as Campbell's been there and as competitive as they have been, this is the first time they've ever won 10 regular season games. So good year for Iowa State, but I'm going with the Sun Devils. Cam Scatterbo, Arizona State running back, super fun to watch. I think he'll have a big game. He's rushed for almost 1,400 yards this year, so I'll go with the red hot Sun Devils.
Yeah, I think the Sun Devils are the team with the hot hand right now. I love Kenny Dillingham's fire. I think that guy's an up and coming coach. I think he's going to have Arizona State competing for years to come, and I like where they're at right now. So I'll take the Sun Devils.
All righty. So our next game is the ACC championship. That's right. You guys ready for this? It's SMU, the Pony Express, and Clemson. Who
would have thought they'd have been good in the NIL era? Who would have thought that?
I know. SMU. No one saw this coming. There's no
drive the gold Trans Am, baby.
There's no precedent.
They were way ahead of the curve.
Are you talking about the Trans A&M?
That's right.
Yeah. Pony Excess was not a thing. SMU, no one saw it coming, right?
Yeah.
2.5 point favorites over Clemson, who got Syracuse, and they're in because of Syracuse. Is what I mean. And so they're actually not supposed to be in this game. It's supposed to be Miami versus SMU, but we did not get such.
No,
that was a fun game.
Miami won 2 games they had no business winning. That I think the ACC had a hand in. So they should be 8-4 to begin with. So Clemson is probably where they need to be.
Frauds.
Frauds. All right. So SMU or Clemson, Steve?
Part of me wants Clemson to win, just so the committee would have to choose between SMU at 10-2 or 11-2 with a conference championship loss and Alabama. Part of me like the Joker meme that you see out there. It's about sending a message.
Just let it burn.
Yeah, we'll just burn it all down. But I think the SMU is too good of a team. Give me the Mustangs.
Yeah, I'm with you there. They're so explosive. They're so good. Clemson is good in their own right, and I'm going to be rooting for Clemson, but I think my money is going to go to SMU.
I think I'm going to disagree with you on this one too. SMU is a really good team and runs the ball really well, and I think Clemson has a little bit of trouble with that, so that's going to really favor them. At the same time, I feel like Cade and Clemson is just going to pass the ball a lot better, so it's going to end up being. I feel like they're going to do everything decently on offense. I just think Clemson's a little bit too balanced of a team for them. Is going to end up taking advantage of that and winning this game. That's my feeling on it.
I'm interested to see how Clemson and the mindset comes out in this game after losing a heartbreaker last week, and they had the game and wrapped up in hand, had like a 3rd and 16, and just let Illinois Sawyers just go everywhere he wanted to, right into the end zone. How they come back in this game and play? Are they going to play dejected, or are they going to play with the fire inside? I think they're going to be up for a half, but I think SMU's too explosive, as Corey said, and they win this game.
And Becky's taking SMU.
Casty is too.
All right. Well, hopefully Jeb and I can gain a game on y'all, because I am also taking Clemson. I think, look, that Clemson has owned the ACC for the better part of a decade. They have been to this game in Charlotte a million times. I don't think they've lost an ACC title game that they've been to since like 2011 or 2012 or something. And SMU's the new kid on the block. Plus Clemson, the only way they can get into the playoff is if they win this game, where SMU at least would have a chance, depending on what the committee decides to do. So I think Clemson is the more desperate team in this situation. And Charlotte is like an hour from Clemson, and it's a long way from Dallas.
It would be absolutely hilarious if Clemson lost to South Carolina and got into the playoffs over South Carolina.
Yeah.
So it's another layer of just watch the world burn.
Yeah,
for sure.
This playoff thing it's not working out great. All right.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, y'all may have seen me in the sheet. I've been changing my pick here right up until now. But I had Clemson to start with, and I was thinking SMU, and now I think I'm back with Clemson. And there's not a great reason for it, because if you look at the statistics and you're just kind of going off of, okay, what's going to happen in this game, statistically, SMU has the upper hand. People always think about this offense and they score like 37 points a game or something, but they also have the top defense in the ACC, and they really hold teams to like 19 points a game. They don't give a whole lot up in the run game. And on the other side of that, they run the ball very well, which is Clemson's Achilles heel. I talked about that last week. 10th best rushing defense in the ACC for the Tigers going into the game against the Gamecocks. And we saw that was, really hurt them when Lenore Sellers ran all over them. So all that to say, I'm going to go off of history. And I think that Clemson, as Hammer touched on, they've owned the ACC for a long time. Dabo Sweeney is still a really good coach for all of his faults in the portal era. He's still going to have them up, I think, for this game. So give me Clemson. I think it's going to be close.
Okay. Good. That's got some good debate there on the ACC championship. So I'm excited about that game. That game is going to be a lot of fun. Big Ten championship. Talk about lower conference play here. Oregon 3.5-point favorites over Penn State in the Big Ten championship over on Fox Onions. Steve, is Oregon going to win this one? Dan Lanning showed some clips from Inglorious Bastards to his team, and he told them pregame, he goes, listen, these guys want to fight, oblige them. So are they going to oblige Penn State, or are they going to
here's the question I want to ask anybody. Is Penn State playing a team with a number beside their name?
Yeah.
Yes.
Give me Oregon.
Yeah.
So if Ryan Day is the Michael Jordan of James Franklin's,
yep,
What does that make James Franklin?
The OG.
The OG.
Scottie Pippen.
So he's the Walter. No,
The Julius Irving.
the Julius Irving. No, he's the
Julius Irving of Bobby Bowden's.
he's the Bill Russell of Bobby Bowden's. Yes, there you go. I'm picking Oregon nonetheless. Hey, we'll load eyes him.
Well, we got to that. No, I'm going to agree with you on this one. I don't think Penn State is nearly as good as their record. They just haven't really played anybody, and the one team they lost to Ohio State. Oregon hasn't. I mean, they beat Ohio State, but they haven't had a tough schedule either. So it'll be interesting to see how for real they are in the playoffs. But they're a lot better than Penn State. So I think this will be a lot farther apart than that small spread suggests. I think Oregon's going to win this one pretty big.
Yeah, both of these teams here recently have struggled in games they should have dominated. I mean, Oregon struggled against Wisconsin, and last week Penn State struggled against Minnesota, and they should have lost that game, honestly. I think Minnesota got screwed late in that game with a call, but we can talk about that another time because officiating has been terrible all throughout football this year. But anyway, I'm taking Oregon here. They're just too good, and I think Dan Lanning's got it made right now, and he's on his way to win his first national championship if he can keep it going. So we're taking Oregon here.
Becky is taking Oregon. Puddles to duck. She always goes for puddles to duck.
Yeah.
Yeah, Oregon. Y'all mentioned it. I mean, James Franklin in a big game. Until he does it, why would I pick him? I think Penn State can keep it pretty close. I think they have a good defense. We've seen their offense, especially in any big game, just turtle up. I don't trust their offense here, and I think Oregon, with the weapons they have and Gabriel at quarterback, is going to find a way to win and cover the spread.
Yeah, in games like this, it often comes down to coaching and quarterback play. And who's the better coach in this game? Dan Lanning. Who's the better quarterback in this game? Dylan Gabriel. So I'm taking Oregon in this one, and you guys all touched on it. Like James Franklin in a big game, I just don't trust him. And until he does it, until he shows us something, got to take the opposite team. So give me the Ducks.
It's so funny whenever they hype that Penn State Ohio State game up every single year when they go to either place for college game day, and they're just hopping up Penn State, and then they score like 8 points total, in both games. It's crazy.
What's kind of funny too is I would say this. I would compare Penn State in some ways to Texas A&M. Like they win more games generally in a year, and I would just say that's the Big Ten versus the SEC. Mm-hmm. However, Penn State has it within their grasp, right? They're like right there. They're knocking on the door, and then whenever it comes to big time game, they just can't seize the moment. And they always melt down. And that's the story of Penn State under James Franklin.
Yep.
Solid.
Mm-hmm.
Solid. Now, our last game is the division. No, just kidding. It is the SEC Championship. Georgia and Texas. Texas wearing the all whites. Jeb, don't Google that. Steve, Texas is 2.5-point favorites. Georgia as an underdog again in this matchup. What do you think?
I think that's the biggest gift you can give Kirby Smart. If he can play disrespect, he does that better than anybody. He's probably the best motivator in the entire Southeastern Conference. But the problem that Georgia has a little bit is Texas is going to lean off of what Lane Kiffin was able to do against Georgia, and they run a remarkably similar offense. So a lot of the same concepts could appear. So Georgia has to get that cleaned up going into the championship game. And if they dominate on the line of scrimmages, they'll be fine. Carson Beck looks a whole lot better. The running game against Georgia Tech looked like there was a little bit of something there. Now, catching the ball at wide receiver, they have Featherstone and the kid from Little Giants on the outside right now. And it's nothing but problematic. But if they use the tight ends, run the football, and play great defense, I think they're going to play and score too many points for Texas to keep up. So give me the Georgia Bulldogs.
There's a chance that Carson Beck broke up with his influencer girlfriend because he's been on a tear lately.
He's back on Snapchat.
He's back on Snapchat trolling.
That's bad news.
Well, actually, no. When he was good, he was on Snapchat. So,
well, that's true.
I don't think if he had a girlfriend or if he didn't, I think he'd still be on Snapchat.
Yeah,
that's true. That's just what he does.
No matter what the situation is, he outkicked his coverage.
Yes.
He can look right and left at the same time.
Oh my!
Great vision. So
it was a good show tonight, boys. I'll see you next week.
Oh my God! We might not be here next week.
Yeah,
that wasn't even me.
I know.
Steve,
It's usually Steven who does stuff like that.
Oh man!
All right, go ahead, Corey.
Who's back?
Carson Beck, you're okay. All right, so keep the Snapchat game fresh, buddy. I think he's going to find the tight ends. He's going to, I think they're going to get some running game going. Nate Frazier and Broderick Robinson are two really dynamic running backs. Frazier has been running hard. He's getting better each and every game. I like the way they run the ball. I think defensively, they're going to say, you know what, Texas, beat us deep. They're going to constrict that space and force Texas to push the ball vertical, which ironically, oddly enough, they can't do. That's they like to run you intermediately down the field, and they're not going to be able to do that against Georgia. So give me the Dogs.
Yeah, no, I'm going to agree with you there. I think you saw the first game that they played together, and Georgia just beat them pretty handily. And I look at it and think, well, is there something going to be really different here where I think Texas is going to be able to improve in this area, or they didn't have this in the first game, but this time they will. And I just don't see anything that makes me think they're going to be better against Georgia than they were last time. I know what Steve is saying about them having seen the blueprint now, but I also think Georgia has now seen the blueprint. And, Ole Miss was able to do it. I don't think Texas will be able to take advantage of that in this game because Kirby Smart's he's too good at adjusting to that kind of stuff. Didn't do it in game. Sorry, Corey, but I think he will after the game. So, no, I think this is going to go a lot like the first one. Texas will keep it a little closer, but Georgia's going to win.
Yeah, I've got to have Georgia win here just for the fact that we cannot let Texas in their first year in the SEC win the SEC championship game. You talk about them being hotheads and running that mouth the entire season. So, Corey, I need you at practice, the next couple of days, be at the game.
You want me to throw stuff at them?
Yeah, get in their face and tell them that they need to get their ASS out of their heads and out of their butts and win this game.
Yeah.
Period. End of story.
Yeah, we need Georgia.
Yeah, give me Georgia.
You can get a good look at a T-bone steak by sticking your head up a butcher's ass.
Yeah.
Top notch.
Yeah. Get some Tommy Boy here. All right. Yes.
And we're back. We're uncanceled for that reference.
There we go. Hammer.
Yeah, I've got Georgia too. I think the best thing that happened to Georgia coming into this game is Texas being favored again. Texas was favored when they played in the regular season, and we saw what happened there. And now Texas is favored again. And Corey, I liked what you said. I think Georgia, defensively will be able to do what A&M could not, and that is stop the run and stop the short, let's call it, either behind the line of scrimmage or less than 5 yards from the line of scrimmage passing game that Sark leans on when he's got Ewers back there and force him to throw deep. And Ewers has done that at times, but not consistently enough for me to think he's going to all of a sudden do it, in Atlanta against Georgia. So I like the Dogs to win this one.
Hell yeah.
All right. Becky's taking the Dogs.
And Cassie's a homer. She's picking the Dogs as well.
Homer.
Well, this one scares me. This is the classic college game day. We got everybody across the board going Dogs, which makes me think that maybe I should take the Horns, but I cannot do that. I'm going to take the Dogs. And reason being is I really like that Georgia, Carson Beck has cleaned up the turnovers in the last couple of weeks. I think it's 3 straight weeks now without a turnover. Seems like it's clicking a little bit more, getting that. I think it was an offensive tackle maybe back or interior lineman. Corey, you know better than I would, but
Rutledge.
Yeah, seems like that has helped a lot.
Yeah. He's finally got his legs back under him. Like he's been, he was beat up a little bit and teams were exploiting that, but now I think he's finally kind of getting back in the groove again.
Yeah, and it seems like with more time, Carson Beck is starting to pick people apart. So I like that for Georgia. And then on the other side, for Texas, Texas has had trouble. They had a cupcake schedule, but against the tougher teams that they have played, some of the tougher defenses, and even some that really aren't that tough, they've had trouble scoring the ball. And against A&M, you only score 17 points. Against Georgia, you only score 15 points. Against Arkansas, you score 20 points. It's like, well, this Texas offense at this point in the year should be clicking a little bit more than they are. And I think Georgia's defense is able to exploit that. I think Georgia's defense is just too good. And I think it goes similar to how the first game went. But Jeb, I'm with you. I think it is a little bit closer. I think it's a closer game. Goes down to the wire, but I do think Georgia ends up winning this one.
Yeah, their offense should be clicking a lot better, especially with Sharp being a offensive-minded guru like he is, but they just hadn't done it this year.
Right.
Yeah, it happens. All righty. So is it time?
Yes, 2 minutes.
2 minutes, like 10 hours ago.
Cassie, are you calling it?
Yeah, she did already at 8:58.
See it. Nailed it. Yeah, we did have that time. Yeah, close enough. So, thank you for listening. SEC After Dark, presented by BetOnline.ag and Stewart's Cajun Dill Pickles. Stephen Willis, the king of Ole Miss podcasting. Despite what you may think, he's not getting canceled. Neither are we. Jeb Beecham, eventually going to do some stuff. But right now, he's just a guy with some cool
With
knickknacks.
Pee Wee Herman in the background.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and a gremlin.
Found him at a thrift store.
And the mask.
Mm-hmm.
Got Jake Thomas, Tide Talk Live. Soon to probably be Bama After Dark. That's a working title, so that's not the official title. But Hammer and Boss Man, Biscuits and SEC. They're our resident Aggies. Sorry for the Texas 8-4. Maybe they will get over that. But gig 'em.
One day.
If you're missing out on Biscuits and SEC, you are actually missing out on Biscuits and SEC because that is a phenomenal show. You guys should check that out. And, of course, check me out with a team in the SEC Championship, Believe in Georgia Dogs, and Locked on Vandy, who is no longer the bottom feeder of the SEC for at least 1 year. So, with that said, we are SEC After Dark. Join us back here next week. We'll react to all of this plus portal talk and bowl projection. Well, actually, bowl picks. Because it won't be projections anymore, so we'll know who's where and what. And we'll see you back here then. Until then, stay safe, behave yourselves, go Dogs, anchor down.
Hotty toddy.
Go Vols.
Roll Tide.
Go Clemson.
Gig 'em.
Gig 'em out.